All right. Welcome to another episode of Barstool Units. Barstool Units, episode 54. I'm Coach Doug's. With me, as always, the venerable Frank the Tank Fleming. Frank, I'm a little upset right now. I'm just a little irritated, but how are you doing?
It's the same old, same old. It's episode 54. We are live on episode 54, and we got this bullshit with Kyrie Irving and Adam Silver, who today proved that he's a big fat phony. He's just another terrible commissioner.
Yeah. So Adam Silver went out of his way. The NBA didn't have to do this. The NBA tweeted out today they have fined the Brooklyn Nets. Was it $50,000?
Yes.
$50,000 for allowing Kyrie Irving to enter the Nets locker room. So he can be in Barclays Center. He can be sitting right behind the team on like courtside. If he was playing for another team, he could be playing on the same court. However, because he entered the locker room, that is allowed, and he has been fined $50,000. This is not from the city of New York. This is not the city of New York fining the Brooklyn Nets. This is the NBA commissioner fining the Brooklyn Nets because Kyrie Irving entered the locker room of the Brooklyn Nets.
This is just ridiculous. You know, commissioner sucks. Every commissioner sucks at this point. I'm getting tired of the absolute total phoniness that's going on here.
Yeah, and I'll say this: I'm not even a huge basketball fan. I'm not a huge basketball fan. This doesn't make me want to become a fan.
No, this season I went the better part of 10 years where basically I did not watch a full NBA game.
Now that's because Brooklyn wasn't good, right?
Yeah, part of it.
Now they are good, or they have the potential to be good, and the commissioner, I don't know how else to put it. It seems like the commissioner just doesn't want the Nets to win.
No, he doesn't. And the clown mayor Eric Adams saying that he doesn't want to make exceptions for Kyrie Irving is actually making an exception for Kyrie Irving by essentially wording the rule in such a way that he can't play still.
Well, and that's where I still have not seen. And maybe it's because they're not pushing. Maybe it's because the Nets organization isn't pushing back on it. But I haven't seen the mayor point out what law or what mandate Kyrie Irving would break. They have not broken down. You know, I believe you worked in the courtroom, right, Frank?
Yeah.
When somebody went on trial, the judge reads out what the charge is, right? Charged with?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
So I have not, and so to say like, hey, this is the law that we're talking about. I haven't seen anyone. The mayor hasn't done it. The mayor's weasel spokesperson hasn't done it. I haven't seen anyone come out and say these are the rules and this is why Kyrie can't play. No one's done that.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It totally is ridiculous what's going on here. The fact that he could actually sit in the arena. I mean, it's no longer about it's no longer about health and safety. It's now about sending a message and just absolute just total control.
Yeah, well that's the message they're sending. The message they're sending is we are going to make up laws. We are going to make up rules that we will admit to your face do not make sense and that do not apply to you, and yet we are still going to enforce them because we control you. That is the message that it sends. That's the message they want to send, and they're doing it. And honestly, it's because I'm not a huge basketball fan, I'll call out the hypocrisy of when I see it. It's stupid. But because I'm not a basketball fan, I'm not invested in this at all. I'm not a basketball or Nets fan, but if I was a basketball fan and a Nets fan, I'd be thoroughly pissed right now that the Nets organization themselves is not pushing back on the NBA, and that Adam Silver is not just, he's no longer complacent in this. He's no longer a little weasel, sitting behind the stand saying, whatever the mayor says, we'll go with. No, he's proactively, the mayor didn't do anything. The city of New York, as far as I know, has not fined the Nets for Kyrie Irving going to the locker. This was a fine sent by the NBA. So Adam Silver is now proactively acting on this, what he referred to, I believe, as doesn't quite make sense. So it's, again, I'm not an NBA fan, so I'm not really invested in this too much, but it's just so stupid. And if I was a Nets fan, I'd be pissed off at the Nets, and I'd be pissed off at Adam Silver.
It's been a nightmarish season. It truly has. And basically it says here, it just really is just like destroy just it shows you that people who have too much time on their hands are politicians, and they just keep fucking things up for everybody.
Before this and before Silver publicly came out and said the law didn't quite make sense, or I don't want to say law because I'm not sure if it's a law. It's a mandate, I believe. But I would have gone with that. I would have said, hey, the mayor, this is on the mayor. No longer. I mean, obviously it is on the mayor because he's the one that's enforcing this, but now it's on Adam Silver. If Adam Silver doesn't want to stand up for his players because he's the commissioner of the league, if he doesn't want to stand up for his team, and he's going to go out of his way to penalize a team that he's the commissioner on under the league, this is all on the NBA right now. It's all on Silver. It's all on the NBA. Mayor Eric Adams is a secondary figure in this now.
I mean, it says, a non-residential professional athlete who is employed by a sports team that is not based in New York, or individual company such a professional athlete or team who enters a covered premises as part of their regular employment for the professional sports athlete competition. So basically they said that if you're not playing, only teams based in New York get punished by this fucking stupid ass rule.
It's like I said, I'm not too invested in it because I'm not a huge basketball fan. But it's on Adam Silver. It's on the NBA. That's all there is to it.
Well, Adam Silver showed to me that he's a weasel.
Yeah.
He looks like he's from fucking outer space anyway. But
yeah,
it just shows you that these commissioners are just, in every sport, they just suck.
Yeah, and it almost makes me think to myself, again, you brought up like every commissioner sucks. It makes me think, okay, are we expecting too much? Is it just a difficult job? Is it something that, is it a job that anybody would really want? But.
Well, considering that Roger Goodell makes an obscene amount of money, ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, what is it, $50 million a year?
Yeah, something like that now.
Yeah. So yeah, I would let random people on podcast yell about my performance if I was making $50 million a year. Would not be an issue at all. But hey, that's the NBA. They're garbage. We have baseball's back, Frank. We did it.
Yeah.
Our voices were heard. Rob Manfred, I believe he mentioned you specifically in the NBA or MLB release. But he heard you, he heard everyone, and baseball is back.
I mean, we came very close to disaster.
Yeah,
we came very close to disaster.
And when you're saying that because was it the executive committee or what committee is it?
Well, this is actually the second time we're trying to record this episode. The first time was as the votes were being tallied up on Thursday. And just as we're getting ready to record, I get messages that the Mets are trying to block the damn deal from happening, and that the Players Executive Committee has voted to not recommend passage of the agreement.
Yeah. So
And
basically,
usually when that happens, it's dead. It's over. It's going to be rejected.
yeah, it's a subcommittee.
And after three marathon negotiating sessions, the first one the prior week when the first 6 games were postponed, and we went out and protested. Then they had a second marathon meeting. I don't understand what the whole deal is. Doing all these marathon 15-hour negotiating sessions every time there's a deadline. And then they're going to announce, they announced another week was going to be postponed, but they got back to the table the next day and basically said, we'll examine the international draft because that was the last holdup. So after getting to a place where they agreed on financials while adding a fourth level of taxation that's already been called the Steve Cohen tax. So it looked like everything was going to be passed except the Players Committee at like 5 minutes before the last deadline is starting to balk, and it's like, you mean after all this, it's going to break apart again? And John Heyman, who was always the one that burst the balloons, was there again, and he was the one who actually said it was at the 2-yard line, and the memes were already starting. They had like the Super Bowl 49 there with the Deion Branch, and it was a Mets logo, intercepted football, and Ollie and Rob Manfred celebrating on the sideline.
Yeah, so basically it was some kind of, I don't know what the term is, executive or advisory council, whatever it is. They told the players to vote no. They suggested the players vote no. And the players, they needed, 20 votes? They needed 2/3?
Yep.
So they needed 2/3. So they needed 20 of the 30 players, reps to vote yes. 22 voted yes.
Yeah, that's what I heard, 22.
So we were three people away from no baseball.
And if that deal falls through, I think it was already starting. It was already starting. Yes. Throughout all of this, the people were on the player side.
Yeah.
But when they started talking about the world draft, the international draft being the last holdup, it started to churn. And after they got back to the table and had a deal that looked like it was acceptable, but for like a couple people to come and say, no, that's not good enough, that would have flipped the public in favor of the owners.
You think the sentiment would have swayed from to the owners, from the players? Everyone was pretty much on the players' side. However, this little international draft, kind of like last minute, now it's important all of a sudden that if that would have been the holdup, then maybe people wouldn't have been on the owner's side, but they would have had less compassion for the players.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's fair.
And I think that would have allowed the owners to become more entrenched. There would have been no 162, which would have if the players rejected that deal Thursday, then I think negotiations break off, and who knows when they get back to the table.
Yeah. Now, so we talked about.
I think if the players actually rejected that deal Thursday, I think we're looking at perhaps this extending into April, May, and if the owners are serious about everyone that plays this year doesn't get service time, you would have seen no baseball.
Yeah. Now, we talked about this before, but one of the big holdups was the players originally, and again, I'm getting all of my information directly from the source, Frank. You're my source. So everything that I hear, it's coming from you. We talked about it earlier how the players had drawn a line in the sand and said if any games are canceled, if we don't play a full season, we're not going to play at all.
The players would not have agreed to any deal that didn't give them full service time. And
Now,
the owners would not have agreed to any deal that gave full service time if a chunk of the season was postponed.
of course. Well, none of that matters anymore.
That would have been another roadblock to a deal.
Yeah. So baseball's back. Stevie Cohen is spending yacht loads of money on the players. Where does this lead? When's the next strike? How long have they kicked the can down the road?
Keep an eye on the World Draft. The owners could are going to try to examine it further and address it by the end of the year. It's not going to affect anything because if the players don't agree to a World Draft, then qualifying offers exist. If the players agree to a World Draft, then there will be no more draft pick compensation and no more qualifying offers.
Yeah.
So as soon as someone becomes a free agent, they're a free agent. There's no more qualifying offers. I don't understand why players are actually against qualifying offers. I mean, Michael Conforto, if he would have accepted the qualifying offer from the Mets, would have $18 million. I don't understand why Noah Syndergaard signed a 1-year contract. Now he got more money from the Angels, and I don't know why the Angels even gave him $22 million. He hasn't pitched. He's basically missed the last 2 years with injury. So who knows what he's going to be like? But that's $18 million. The qualifying offer is $18 million
For 1 year, one season of baseball.
And if you get a qualifying offer, you can't do it twice.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how that's a bad thing. I mean, I know they don't like the draft pick compensation, which I think has to be changed. I think the best way to do draft pick compensation is still have draft pick compensation, but no more direct draft pick compensation. Do sandwich rounds.
Okay. Well, there's a lot to unpack there. A lot of details with all of that are MLB specific as far as the drafts go. But baseball's back. Baseball's back.
It is back.
Now, unfortunately, well, so there's a pro and a con to this. Well, let's start with the pro. The pro to baseball activities being pushed back. It's been a pretty cool Monday as far as seeing major players in the NFL and MLB signing today. It's been a huge signing day. Players are moving. So that's a little pro. It's been fun to watch. It's been fun to watch MLB and NFL players moving today.
I don't know what the Dolphins are doing. Have they figured out that they actually need offensive linemen? I mean, Liam Eckenberg. I mean, you can push him around like a fucking revolving door. And I hear they're interested in drafting a 5'8" guy that's 111 pounds to play center.
I'm sure he'll do well. I'm sure everyone in that organization will do well under the new coach for the Dolphins.
I just don't trust him. I don't trust I just get this. every time I look at Brian Flores, I saw coach. I look at Mike McDaniel, and I think I should be asking him for a cappuccino.
That's fair. I was gonna put like middle school gym teacher. That's just what I get. But so that's the pro. There's some stuff. I tell you what, speaking of surprising, I still don't, and trust issues, I still don't trust Trent Baalke, but the Jaguars made some pretty big moves today. Got some offensive linemen, got a pretty big.
So your team actually knows that you need offensive line.
I don't know. I don't want to go that far because I don't want to give him too much credit. He may have just lucked into it. So I don't want to give him too much credit yet. But it seems like that might be the case. Again, don't trust him. This is kind of like an abusive boyfriend getting you flowers. It's like, yeah, the flowers are nice, but like, I didn't forget what you did. Like I still don't. This isn't over yet. So that's the pro. We have a lot of movement today. It's been a good day for sports. The con, it has pushed opening day back, and now opening day for the Mets is happening mid-April.
Yep.
And it looks like we're gonna have to miss it because we're going to Birmingham, right?
I got the Stu's is going to get me even better seats than I normally have.
I didn't even know you already had seats to Birmingham. Stu's going to get you better seats in Birmingham.
It is just something about Met home opener, and I've only missed one, not counting the pandemic year, since 1998.
Frank, there's going to be a home opener again next year, and the next year, and the next year.
Well, hopefully there's a USFL home opener actually in New Jersey.
Well, this is the first home opener of the New Jersey Generals of the USFL. This is the first one ever.
They're playing in Birmingham, and they're playing Birmingham, so I think Birmingham's the home team.
But it's an opener, and they all play there, so it's a home opener.
I want to get to a USFL game, but
this is the first one ever, Frank. First one ever. If someone told you, hey, would you like to go to the first ever opening day for the New York Mets, would you go?
Yes.
That's what we're talking here. We're talking about the first opening day ever.
But we're talking the Mets. We're talking the first time the home crowd gets to hear Max Scherzer as a Met being introduced. When they line up everyone, when the family of Bill Shea brings out the Good Luck Floral Wreath.
Frank, this is the first ever, and we don't know how the league's going to fold or unfold or fold. This could be the first and last.
The
Mets are going to have an opening day every season, Frank.
If things kept the same, and this was just an ordinary game, I mean, I could see it, but it's just bad. I wish the USFL opened up this weekend or opened up last weekend. That would have been better for me.
All right, I guess we're not going to Birmingham because you want to see opening day Mets. I guess we'll have to go to another game in Birmingham. We're talking about opening day, Frank. Opening day of this could be the last one.
Well, let's hope the USFL actually succeeds and it's not the last one. And next year
it could be. Yeah, obviously, hopefully. But Frank, how many Mets opening days have you been to?
This would be my 23rd.
So we're talking about 1 out of 23 or 1 of 1, Frank. If you were collecting a sports card, and hey, you can have this sport card that's 1 of 23 or this 1 of 1, what would you take? And the 1 of 1 is a rookie card.
Yeah, but it's a Ty Kelly rookie.
All right. So we'll go to the Mets game. I'm not happy about it, but we'll go. And then we'll figure out another day to go to Birmingham. And who knows, maybe on the way down to Birmingham, we can stop into some other minor league baseball games, some collegiate baseball games. Have you been following the Savannah Bananas?
A little bit. I know of them.
Yeah.
I sort of got with this.
They sell out I'm pretty sure they've sold out every game for a couple of years now, a few years at least. And they just have fun with it. They are what baseball should be. They have fun. They had a couple nights ago, they had a guy on stilts. He actually got a hit. He hit the ball, and he tried to run to first base. What are you watching, Frank?
Oh no, I just have a game on, but I
Who's
just
playing?
saw Sixers and Nuggets, but that's not what I was looking at.
Oh, what were you looking at?
The crawl. You know how they have the crawl on the bottom of the screen?
Yeah.
Austin Matthews has just been suspended 2 games by the Toronto Maple Leafs for that cross check to the face in the game yesterday.
Yeah. I heard about that earlier today. But yeah, so we'll head down to Birmingham and check out some other minor league games along the way. And who knows? We might be in your town next. But
when we go down to Alabama, make sure you have plenty of Grapico. Yeah,
we're gonna try Grapico. Frank says that is his number 1 beverage of choice. Where now? It's from Alabama.
Best grape soda I've ever had. Best grape soda I ever had.
Did somebody send that to you? How'd you get it? How'd you try it?
Someone sent it to me.
That's how it goes. Maybe if we go through the Carolinas, maybe we can stop at Biltmore Estate. I talked to you about that. The sparkling grape juice at the Biltmore Estate is phenomenal. But speaking of baseball being back, NFL is working its way back, and Tom Brady is back. Can we say?
Don't call it a comeback. He's been there for years.
Can we say this is? It's not even. Can we say he's coming back? I feel like the door hasn't even closed yet. It would be like walking out of the door, but the door's still wide open, and then saying, "Oh, I'm back." It's like, yeah, you didn't really leave yet.
You know what was happening? He was sitting home, trying to watch the NCAA tournament this weekend, and he heard, Dad, this is gonna be one great. You get to watch even football next year, and he looked around and went, "I'm back, baby."
Yep. Yeah, and it's we can joke about how bad are those kids? Maybe this wasn't even his decision. Maybe Giselle was like, listen, I love you, but like, I can't deal with you all 12 months. You need to be out on the road. You need to be playing football. You need to be with the guys. It might not even been his decision. But he announced his comeback the other day, the same day that Tom Brady's last touchdown football sold, the morning of, for I believe, was it $500,000 or $600,000?
It was like $568,000. Bum bum bum, bing 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 bing.
Morning of. Now I'll say this: if you're spending that much money on a football, probably one of 2 things are the case. One, you have money to spend, and this is a sick joke on you. Or 2, you are part of a collective. Like you have a collective group that all pitched in, or you run some kind of investment firm or something.
I got Tom Brady's last football.
Nope. And are his 2022 cards? Are those going to be his second rookie years? Nothing. Yeah, he wasn't gone. And I'll say this: he might have wasted the good retirement on himself. He can come back as many times as he wants. If we want to say it's a comeback, I feel like he hasn't been gone long enough for that to be the case. But you only get to retire one time. You don't get multiple retirements. You left, you made a whole speech about it. You said you were going to go to one Patriot way or whatever it was. And that's it. From here on out, you just have to walk away, which is the better retirement anyway. That is the best retirement announcement, is just walking away.
Do you remember, you're too young to remember Sugar Ray Leonard.
Why would I be too young to remember Sugar Ray Leonard?
Well, I'm sure you know who he is.
Yes.
He basically would have a fight. He had an eye injury and he retired. Then he came out of retirement, fought. And every fight he said, "This is going to be my last fight."
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, he's out there again. He literally retired. Like, I think Sugar Ray Leonard actually retired about 8 or 9 times.
You can't do that. You can't do that. I won't do it. I refuse. Any major announcement whether it's through tweets, a notes app, whatever it may be, I am not acknowledging it. I won't do it.
It's gonna be the same thing as last year. And this could be Tom Brady's last game, bada 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 bada. That could be Tom Brady's last pass, bada 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 bada. There's Tom Brady in his last bada 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 bada.
We've already been through all of that. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
He's gonna be 45 now. One of these years he's gonna suck. He's gonna keep playing and he's gonna suck. Willie Mays is one of the greatest baseball players of all time. In the 1973 World Series, he fell on his fucking face.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. It's the same. You either live long enough to see yourself become the villain, or you die a hero. And it's the same. It's the same thing in sports. You either leave on top, or you fizzle out. And it's better to leave on top. He could have walked away, and Will Compton had the best tweet about it. Will Compton said the guy's got 7 Super Bowls, 5 Super Bowl MVPs, 3 NFL MVPs, made a boatload of money, 22 seasons. He said he has unfinished business. With who? Your business has been finished for years.
He could have retired
business.
He could have retired 5 years ago, and he would already be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're bringing that up. How relieved has Ben Roethlisberger? How relieved is Ben Roethlisberger right now? Thank God he's no longer in my class.
Well, yeah,
because he would have been outshined for sure.
It would have been like, and it's the Tom Brady going to Hall of Fame. How you go to Hall of Fame? Tom Brady going to Hall of Fame. Ben, you're going to the Hall of Fame, but you only have 2 seconds to tweet. Dan, Tom Brady. And they said, "Sorry, Steelers fans, you can't go after the Hall of Fame. We all have Brady fans." And then when Roethlisberger announced, "Boo!" and they would have actually made his bust even smaller. I mean. Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger now, when he goes in the Hall of Fame, people will actually notice.
Yeah. And speaking of notice, Hall of Fame, I think we should probably go to the Hall of Fame game in Canton this year.
For that. Jaguars announced as being in the Hall of Fame game this year?
I'm pretty sure they are, aren't they?
I haven't heard the announcement.
Are they not? I thought they were. Well, either way,
Well, Tony Baselli's going in.
For some reason, I think it's the Jaguars and the Raiders.
Well, let me see. 2022 Hall of Fame game, Canton.
Yeah, the Las Vegas Raiders and Jacksonville Jaguars on August 4th, 8 p.m.
Well, let's
And
go.
that's perfect.
Let's go.
We'll go out there, and I'll be able to see the first Jacksonville Jaguar inducted into the Hall of Fame.
And I'll be able to see a fellow Montclair State alum become the first Montclair State member in the Canton Hall of Fame.
There you go. So I mean, I feel like we have to go. Tony Baselli's in. Your Montclair State guy is in.
Yep, Sam Mills.
Sam Mills, of course. And it's the Jaguars playing in Canton.
Yeah, the stars are aligned.
There we go. So units are in Canton. We'll be heading there for the Hall of Fame game and all that jazz. We actually were there right before the last Hall of Fame game. But we got there a little bit late and kind of pushed out of the Hall of Fame a little in a quick fashion. But
well, we'll go to Cooperstown at one point this year too.
Yeah, of course. You got to do the Hall of Fame tours.
And maybe one of these days when Canada's fully open and not ridiculous.
Yep. Well, we just started season 3 of Succession, so we're working on that, and we finished off The Sopranos.
Yes, we did.
Sopranos. How do you say it, Frank?
Sopranos.
So Sopranos, not Sopranos. Sopranos. Finished off Sopranos. It was a long 6 seasons. I liked the show. I'm glad that I now have an understanding of a lot of the references. Boxes of ZD. What are you going to do? I'm glad I get a lot of the references. Not a big fan of the ending.
It was different. A lot of people didn't like the ending in 1997, but I think over the years it's grown on people.
In 97?
2007.
2007, yeah. Well, and that's yeah. So
I think over the years it's grown on people.
I tweeted out that I didn't appreciate the ending. I didn't really care for it. I said it was kind of cheap in the sense that, hey, leave it up to you to decide what happened. And when I say that, we are in an understanding. We have an understanding. We have an agreement that, spoiler alert, at least Tony is killed.
Yes.
The music stops playing. It turns to black. When I say it's left up to us to figure out what happens, I'm not referring to that. I'm not referring to Tony's death. I'm referring to the fallout. I'm referring to who did it, for what reasons, why then. Was it just Tony? Was it Tony, the wife, and the kids? And how does that work out? How does it end? I felt like it was just I'll reiterate what I was saying on Twitter. The reason I have an issue with that is because we were watchers of that world for 6 seasons. We saw inside the mind of Tony when he dreamed and everything else, but we also saw other people's dreams. And so this was not for 6 seasons, we were just watching everything go down. There were things that we saw that Tony never saw and never knew about. So we weren't just specifically looking at this from Tony's perspective. However, when it ends, it cuts off, it fades, it not just fades to black, it goes straight to black, and the music cuts off. It ends. As if we're Tony in that instance. And I'm like, no, there's a whole world outside of Tony that we were watching. And so to switch angles, to switch perspective like that at the very end and say, oh, well, this is what Tony sees, so this is what you see. I didn't like that.
I think I doubt that anyone else was shot. I doubt that. We already know that his family is basically in tatters, even even before he is killed.
Hmm.
We got Silvio probably on life support. He's probably gonna be unplugged.
Hmm.
We got Paulie who doesn't want the stress or the responsibility. Bobby's dead. Christopher's dead. Uh, what do you call Carlos talking to the feds? I mean, Patsy doesn't really have anything. I mean, are they gonna make Benny the fucking leader?
You never know.
I mean, he helped take out Phil.
Yep.
I mean, but the Jersey family is in tatters. New York's a mess. New York City. We've had a power vacuum for 2 years, and it's caused all this mess. All these killings back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So that was a mess. So everything's been a mess for a couple of years now, and it's bad.
So
That's what we got.
the resolution is just, hey, Tony's dead.
So
That's how it ended.
I doubt that anyone else is killed. AJ can't do shit because he can barely tie his fucking shoes. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, he really the last 2 seasons, AJ basically became Fredo Soprano.
Yeah, I would not, again, if it did play out, if we saw it play out, I could absolutely see AJ going back into the psych ward or trying to kill himself again and failing probably because he can't do anything right. But if he witnessed his father get shot right there, yeah, he's of no use to anyone. He is a burden.
Yeah, you know who is starting to develop like a kind of like a sharp tongue, and although she is probably heading to law school, and that's Meadow. She's
Yeah, Meadow wasn't.
she's probably the smart. She's probably the smartest one of the whole group.
Yes, and we've talked about this. I'm not sure if we've talked about it on here, but I think the writers. This show. I don't know if this show would have the same characters written now. Every single female in this show just doesn't get it. They don't. They're naive.
The FBI agent that was putting the pressure on.
We're talking about an FBI agent who is trained. A trained FBI agent doesn't understand like when somebody gets whacked.
I mean, she says, "Well, we don't know. She could have left the country." And the two men are looking at each other like, "Is she serious?"
Every woman. There was no strong, powerful, confident, smart woman in this show. There just wasn't.
Dr. Melfi had her points, although I think she got like a vicarious trill occasionally from listening.
Yeah,
to Tony
even she wasn't strong-willed because she talked to the other therapist about how, she was attracted to Tony and like it was. Even she wasn't that strong-willed.
But I actually heard about this. All professional psychiatrists. I think it might even be required. Has to also go through therapy.
Yeah, no, that's not what's surprising. No, it's not that she's going through therapy. It's what she talks about in therapy about how she can't get rid of Tony, like she can't push him off. She ends up doing it in the end. In the end, she says, "I can't be your therapist anymore." But she was egging on the situation.
Yeah, like a couple of people called her out for that you get a vicarious trill from this.
Yeah, and so I'm just saying, on the whole, it did not seem like there were many competent, strong women in the show. That's all I'm saying.
And Carmela is just a fucking hypocrite. She criticizes people, and yet Tony sleeps around on her, and then she flirts with every guy that comes through the doors.
Well,
Meanwhile, she feels superior to everyone else. And the psychiatrist she saw and then ran away from basically says, "Oh no, I'm not taking any money. That's
yeah.
blood money. And if you continue to go on with this, you're an accomplice to all the bad acts he does."
Yep. Got a
I
point.
mean, that was almost like that psychiatrist, that one guy, was almost like the audience in the middle of the series, basically telling Carmella, "You're no better than Tony."
No, you're in this. You chose this life. You know what happens. But again, even her, like, oh, like did you think Chrissy might have killed her? Like, what? You think she just ran off? Like, even you, so it wasn't even like the FBI agent who didn't know her. It's like, you've known this woman. You've gone to the gym with this woman. You're in clubs with this woman. And you think she would just run away and never have contact with anyone ever again, including her mother.
Yeah. Her mother saying that. "How's your daughter?" "My daughter's dead." "What? She's dead? Are you kidding me?"
Oh my God. Yeah. So that was just.
And then, how's Tony always getting her shut up? "Oh my God, it's a beautiful diamond."
Yeah.
What was I talking about again?
Exactly. Watches, cars. Yeah.
The house. I mean, Tony got tired of her with the house, so he basically didn't help her. And all of a sudden, she started asking questions. He goes, "Get this house built. Get her off your mind."
Yeah.
I mean, Carmella, Tony knows he's a piece of shit.
No,
he knows he's a bad guy.
No, he thinks he's a soldier.
Yeah, but that's what they always say. We choose this life, this thing of ours.
Yeah.
That means that they understand what they're doing is wrong, but they're going to do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Carmella just is, "Oh, look at it, beautiful, bro.
Yep.
I'm good. I'm a good person. I have these charity things." Like the first season when they have they're helping out their friend there, Artie and his wife,
Mm-hmm.
and Artie's wife thought she was friends with the Spineless.
Yeah.
And then she's brought over the house, and it's like,
Come here.
Yeah, and so that told you that Carmel does not think much of her.
No.
She's just another worker.
But I will say this: Tony always had food in the house.
That he did.
There was always some kind of baked ziti or something waiting for him when he got home, and you have to appreciate that. There's nothing better. There's nothing better than some good home cooking.
What about my roast yesterday? Homemade gravy.
Frank,
delicious.
I'll have to take your word for it.
And I'm making a meatloaf. I'm actually going to make the meatloaf tomorrow night and cook it on Wednesday. It's delicious. The gravy was delicious. Homemade gravy. And the videos are coming out.
The videos are coming out. I had the privilege of recording for you. Just one of the little things. We're a unit complex here, so we help each other out when we can. And I think that is as far as my role goes in Tank's Cooks. The
food is good. It's good. Chef kiss.
I don't doubt it is. Of course, it's based on your opinion. But again, I don't doubt you. I think it's become an issue of I've seen where the sausage is made. I
wore gloves.
Frank, did you wash your hands before you put the gloves on?
Yes, I did.
Did you wash your hands after you put the gloves on?
Well, the gloves are on.
Yeah, no, it's a trick question. I was trying. Okay, you passed that one. That's a trick question. You shouldn't wash your hands after you kill someone. No, it's. I'm going to be honest with you. It's you took the roast out of the packaging that you got from the store, and you put it right on top of the plastic that has been who knows where, and so you put the meat.
Well, it's been in the freezer. It's been in the freezer. It's been in the freezer for about a month.
But you put it right on the plastic you put it on the packaging. Imagine taking out slabs of bacon and then just putting it onto the plastic of the saran wrap. It's like you just put it all over.
I don't see a problem with that. I do that all the time.
And that's the problem, Frank. The problem is you don't see a problem with it. But it's that, and then
that's how my parents cook.
It's just, for me, it's a matter of I like, this is a cooking surface. This is a cleaning surface. This is where we will prepare the meal. This is
where the
meal.
Where am I supposed to put it when I season the meat? A
plate.
But then it will be dirtying up a plate unnecessarily.
Oh no! I would hate for you to have to wash another plate. That would be a terrible sacrifice, to have to clean another plate in order to ensure that there's no contamination of bacteria.
I have never had any contamination in bacteria, and I've done this for 45 years.
That you know of, Frank. That you know of. Your body may just be immune to it now. But so yeah, and then I'm gonna be it's the bouillon cubes. The bouillon cubes are meant to make broth.
Yes.
So for every cup of water, you put one bouillon cube, and
that's not enough. You won't have
based on what the container of the bouillon cube says. 1 cup of water, 1 bouillon cube, based on the container, based on what it says. I'm saying that is to make broth. You use broth, and then into the broth you throw 7 bouillon cubes.
I used to do 12.
So you're not even making broth at this point. You already have the broth, and you're adding more bouillon cubes. 7.
It makes it richer.
That means that there's 7 more cups of chicken broth.
It makes it richer. It makes it richer.
I'm sure. What about 15? How about 20?
I used to do 12.
Why not 15?
Well, I did 7 in honor of Kevin Durant.
It's just watching you just toss the bouillon cubes into the broth, and then just the broth going. I'm a large man. I'm a man of girth. I'm a unit. Watching those bouillon cubes splash into the broth the liquid that is already broth. I truly felt dehydrated. I felt like I could feel the salt running through my blood. It was.
Well, I lick salt, so I actually chew on salt.
I know, like a deer in the woods licking a salt cube. So anyway,
I like salt.
Who doesn't like salt? Salt's delicious. I love salt. But 7 bouillon cubes into the broth. And my mind just says, "Oh my! If you touch that, you will dehydrate immediately just by touching it." And then
I have plenty of sodas.
Huh?
I have plenty of soda and water.
The gravy you made, and I made sure to tweet, Frank made some gravy because I knew people would comment on it, and they said, "This is some." Frank, you made all the gravy. You made cups on cups on cups of gravy.
And there'll be some gravy left over when I make I'll be using leftover gravy with the meatloaf on Wednesday.
Absolutely. So listen, like I said, I'm here to help. I'm more than happy to record Tank's Cooks.
I'm going to make veal cutlets soon, too. I got some veal cutlets. If you want, I'll Parmesan them for you.
And I will record that for you as well, Frank. But
If you want, I'll Parmesan a few for you.
I'm not even sure what that means, Frank.
Well, I usually like my veal cutlets with gravy and stuffing.
Of course.
But if you want some veal cutlets Parmesan, I could use some of that sauce that sauce I use on the English muffin pizzas, and put some mozzarella on it.
What are you saying, Frank?
I can make you veal Parmesan if you want.
But you said you were going to Parmesan it?
Well, I don't usually make veal Parmesan. I make just plain veal cutlets.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want, I could do some Parmesan for you.
Oh, you're saying you could make veal Parmesan. Yeah. I thought you were saying you were going to Parmesan the veal. And I was questioning what that meant.
Yeah, well, veal Parmesan is veal cutlets.
I know what veal Parmesan is. You were saying you were going to Parmesan the veal. In Frank talk, you were saying you're going to make veal Parmesan.
Yes, if you want.
In English, in American, we speak here in America, in New Jersey, you were saying you were going to Parmesan the veal.
Yes.
Meaning like you were going to put Parmesan to the veal.
Yes.
Yeah. So happy to produce, happy to record Frank's Tanks or Tanks Cooks. One day I might get over this mental block, but until then, I'm still happy to help out as a camera guy.
Well, before we go, we should talk about the March Madness and the Final Four. We got our sleeper, our swing sleeper.
You can't say what it is. This is coming out before that.
Yep. Well, tune in.
Okay.
Tune in. Well, we had the sleeper draft that will air Wednesday. So we obviously have a team that we're going to be rooting for. So pay attention to that. They swing sleepers. And as for the tournament, do you have a Final Four yet, or are you still trying to mull it over?
No, I don't have a Final Four yet. FSU's not in the tournament, so I don't really care. I think Tennessee could go far though. I don't. Frank, we don't disparage Tennessee in this household.
They have to play. They possibly have a second round game against Michigan, and that game's going to be in Indianapolis.
I'd love that. Tennessee versus Michigan.
I definitely like Arizona. That's my team to win it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David Blattman seems to be a fan, and he's been following him all year long.
Yeah, my pick is Arizona.
You think LSU's out first round?
Oh yeah, they're gonna flame out fast.
Really?
Fired their coach, recruiting violation, playing a live dog in Iowa State. Yeah, they're gone.
Well, we'll see. It would be a heck of a turn. I mean, if they finished it off with all those violations and everything, possible violations. I don't think any. The NCAA hasn't come out with anything yet, have they? It's just rumored right now.
They're under investigation.
They're
they stripped Louisville of a championship. They vacated it. You know, when they vacate the titles, they actually have Will Smith come out and go.
That's Barstool Units, episode 54. I'm Coach Doug's. Frank, please take us out.
Click like, subscribe. Click like, subscribe. Don't forget, even as I neuralize you.
Welcome back to Barstool Units, episode 54. See you next time.